the 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. It's Super Bowl week, and welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, seems like forever, but it's Super Bowl week for the Eagles. It can't get here soon enough. We have a full hour to talk Birds and Chiefs tonight with great guests. We will mention the pitchers and catchers report in 5 days for spring training. So we're out of football and into baseball. They'll be in Clearwater. First game, 17 days. We are loaded up with plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Well, yeah, as you said, we'll talk almost entirely about that game that happens to be happening this Sunday down in Nolens. 4 days from right now, to be precise, about 95 and a half hours from this moment to kickoff for people watching live with us on Wednesday night. Sunday can't get here fast enough, Bill. I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely. Let's get to it. It's time to tee it up. Enough talk. I never did like the 2 weeks in between the championship game and the Super Bowl. And, we'll get to this a little bit later on, but I find that this game doesn't seem to have as much hype about it outside of Philadelphia as many other games nationally. I heard somebody on the radio say nobody wants to see the Eagles and Chiefs play again. I think they're the two best teams, and they're where they should be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I would probably say that even if I was in, Detroit.
Right. There you go. Well, hey, we have three great guests tonight to talk Eagles. Brandon Lee Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation, the Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil, and Boop, Bob Vetrone Jr. Unfortunately, called in sick.
He's pulling a Joel Embiid on us. I don't know. We're going to have to get a full medical investigation into this one. But yeah, Boop has called in sick, stomach bug or whatever. But hey, we wish you well, Boop. Get better.
We do have all of his information. We have his prop bets that he's looking at. We've got some other things. Of course, we've got his pick. So we have plenty of Boop information. We just don't have the big guy live tonight.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
And while we're talking prop bets, Chet, Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift on the field after the game is a prop bet. Is it worth $10 to you?
I am not touching that one, but I already have made 4 or 5 bets on the game. Plus, around week 10, I laid some money on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl when the odds were something like 8-1. So, hey, go Birds.
Go Birds. That's right. This is going to be a big win all the way around for you. Well, hey, let's get to it and welcome Brandon Lee Gowton back to Philly Pressbox Radio. BLG, welcome back. Who thought we'd be talking Eagles in February?
I don't think the Eagles did, considering where they were a year ago from now. And they wasn't even sure that they're going to be bringing back the head coach that they ultimately stuck with. So, it's an exciting turn of events.
Yeah, BLG, hard to believe, but we haven't had you on with us since last summer, right before the first preseason game. Shame on us, but to your credit, I checked on it. Even though it was late July, you did predict the Eagles would win at least 11 regular season games and win the NFC East. You said the Cowboys would certainly take a step back. You were right about that. We were all happy about that. Of course, the Eagles did even better than that, as we are days away from watching them in Super Bowl 59, second appearance in 3 years in the big game. Let's start with Saquon Barkley. What do you make of what he has done over these last 5 months?
Yeah, unreal. And I wasn't among those who, believed in the signing. And not to say that I thought he was going to be terrible or anything, but I didn't think he was going to be like basically the MVP of the league. I mean, that is just unreal how successful he's been here this year. I think he's played better too. Like, obviously having the offensive line that he does here in Philadelphia versus the one he had against New York helps a lot. But I think he's like taken his game to a new level in terms of not doing as much dancing as he kind of used to do. And I mean, it's just been such a special player. And right now, the way he's playing, it's like unstoppable. Like there's these teams. Yeah. There's no really good answer to stopping him, because if you load the box, okay, great. Eventually, he's going to find some space and break through and go on one of these long touchdown runs that he's gone on. And if you don't load the box, then he's going to just probably get 6 yards a pop and continue to just do that over and over. So I mean, he's just unreal.
Hey, Brandon, let's go back to the beginning. This team starts out 2-2. Should have won one of those games. The drop pass cost them that Atlanta game. Only got beat by Tampa and got beat pretty bad. They had their early bye. They got their act together. We've heard a lot about a team meeting going in to see Nick, and they changed their ways. What was the key to all that? Was it the big fellas just saying, hey, let's run the ball. We got the best back and we got the best line?
Yeah, I think it was really forming an identity at that point in the season and sticking with what was working, which, yes, mostly was Saquon Barkley and, playing up to the strengths of the offensive line. Clearly, as they were passing the ball a lot in the first 4 weeks, that just wasn't really a formula for this team. Jalen Hurts, those turnovers were pretty high, and they were aiming to cut those down. At the time, like I remember saying, like if they could just kind of they don't need Jalen to be MVP. They just need him to not get in the way like he was doing early in the season. And sure enough, that actually did come to pass. And obviously the defense gelling in a major way was huge as well, because that affords you to be able to kind of have the offensive identity that they have when the other, the defense is just locking things down. And certainly it's not the only reason, but when you put Cooper DeJean in the lineup in place of Vontae Maddox, who had been struggling, like that was a really big deal. And it's part of how this defense was able to come together on the whole. So it really just seems like they just found their stride during that early bye week, which a lot of people were like, hey, I don't like the early bye, but hey, it worked out for this team.
I want to go back to Saquon kind of for a bit. 2 years ago, Jalen Hurts threw for 304 yards in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are going to try to limit the damage done by Saquon. So if they do, can Hurts do what he did a couple of years ago, throw for 300-plus yards, maybe run for another 70 like he did 2 years ago? He has the ability, certainly.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet against Jalen Hurts in a big spot. I mean, he played awesome in the NFC Championship game against the Commanders. Like you just said, he played awesome in the Super Bowl. I don't think the moment is too big for him. I think that's clearly not the concern. The concern is that, we've seen the passing game at times this season not quite be in sync. And is it possible that resurfaces here? Absolutely, because it was an issue in a lot of games this season. I tend to think that, there were some things that they maybe were working for them in the NFC Championship game that they can kind of take that information and, continue to go forward with that and try to replicate some of those things. And I think Jalen Hurts very much, has another big game in him. I think his legs could be a big factor in this one, just like if they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago when he had 70 rushing yards. So I do expect another big game from him.
I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of the same type of game plan as we saw last week. Getting that ball out quick. George Karlaftis could be a key to this game. They got to block him. He's a good player. And Chris Jones, of course, inside is tough. They can't get a lot of pressure on Hurts, or we're going to have a little bit of problem. So I think you're going to see a lot of getting that ball out quick. And, of course, they're going to run Saquon and run him. And then we're going to pull it, and Hurts is going to run with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts has the highest percentage of sacks taken against the blitz this season. So there's been mixed results there. I'm not going to say it's obviously way better than it was last year against the blitz when they just had no answers for that at all. And he hasn't. It's not like he's turning the ball over a ton against the blitz, but he has taken the highest percentage of sacks. So I would agree that there's going to be an emphasis on getting the ball out here, and there should be. And there's no good reason that. Like in the Packers game or in the Panthers game, AJ Brown only has 4 targets or whatever. That's a guy who needs to be getting force-fed the ball over and over. And I know you want to run the ball, absolutely, but you have to find those, opportunities for AJ Brown mixed in there. So, I do think it would greatly benefit this Eagles offense if they could really get that time to throw down, because otherwise, you're given all the time in the world for that blitz to get home.
If I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs give up a lot of yards to tight ends, which would bode well for Dallas Goedert. And Devontae Smith has played the Chiefs 3 times, and I think he's had 3 great games, averaging over 90 or close to 100 yards over those 3 games. So they certainly have the opportunities right there.
Yeah, Goddard's had a great postseason too. You know, for as much as it's kind of frustrating, he's been in and out of the lineup with these injuries over the past few seasons. And he's been great in the playoffs. He's been very efficient, very reliable, and I think he could certainly be a factor in this game as well. Be interested to see if they kind of go back to some of those runs that they were doing with him, some of those jet sweeps in the Commanders game. But yeah, like you said, the Chiefs, I believe, are among the league leaders in terms of yards given up to tight end. So for all the talk about Travis Kelce, I do think Dallas Goedert, and he also had a big game against them in the last Super Bowl as well.
Well, flipping over to the other side of the ball, we got to deal with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins and some pretty good players, some real speed on that other side. I'm good with giving Travis Kelce a Zach Ertz game. He can have 10 catches for 100 yards all day long. It's those 6 or 7 catches for 125 yards with the yards after catch that scare me. Contain him and make somebody else beat you.
Yeah, there's kind of been I've seen concern, about the tight end position because of that Zach Ertz game. But I mean, the tight end position has not plagued the Eagles this year by any means. Like, that's not been a common theme. That kind of is more of an anomaly to me. And I think the way the Eagles were defending Zach Ertz with Reed Blankenship on him one-on-one, like I don't think that's how they're going to handle things. So Travis Kelce, I think they're going to have a different game plan for that. So Travis Kelce is a great player, and obviously I think especially in the playoffs and just. Part of because what makes him great is just like this weird connection that he has with Mahomes, where it's the off-script stuff where, those two just seem to be on the same page somehow, even when things are Mahomes is scrambling, and that's why it's so hard to defend, because some of that is you can't really script that. You're not seeing on tape. It's just more of the the freelancing that Travis Kelce is able to do. But yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles have had good plans, and they also shut down Travis Kelce last year when they played the Chiefs in Kansas City. I think he only had 44 yards in that game. He had a touchdown, but they were able to prevent him from doing major damage, and that was with much worse personnel and worse coaching than the Eagles have this time around.
This is not breaking news. Patrick Mahomes is really good. Is there anything special you think Vic Fangio can do to try to, limit him? We know the record, Mahomes 8-0 against Fangio's teams, albeit the Broncos and Dolphins, during Mahomes' career. So what do you do to try to stop him?
Yeah, and when you look at those numbers too, it looks like the the defenses weren't too bad in those games. Obviously, the overall record isn't great at 8-0, but the defense, it wasn't like Mahomes has shredded them. Really, on the whole, it's kind of more of just like an average-ish kind of game for Mahomes. If you look at the aggregate of all those, so I do think Vic Fangio has some tricks up his sleeve, because that's what the Super Bowl is all about, like saving your best plays for this kind of moment. And I also think that we've seen some things in the playoffs this year, such as when the Eagles were using a little bit more cover 2 than they really ever run, which isn't very often at all against the Commanders. And that confused Jaden Daniels at times, and the Eagles were able to have success with that. Now, Mahomes is no rookie, and he's seen a lot, but I do think Vic Fangio has some tricks up his sleeve that he can be able to break out in this game. It's not like, it's not about doing it all game long and stifling Mahomes like that. That's just not going to be how you stop him. But it could be, in a key, 3rd down or 4th down spot where a play like that makes the difference.
BLG, what do you think about the matchups with Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins? How do you, that's great speed, and Hopkins is a great receiver. How do you see the Eagles trying to match up with that?
Yeah, really interested to see how much Hopkins has a role, because he didn't even play a whole lot in the AFC Championship game. That could be different here. It could be game plan specific with how they use those guys. But when it comes to Xavier Worthy, there's a good film breakdown, shameless plug here, on Bleeding Green Nation from our good friend Johnny Page, who basically said, stopping Xavier Worthy is the key, to shutting down this Chiefs offense. He's a really key player for them, and has been coming on lately. He's a rookie, but kind of seemed to, instead of hitting a rookie wall, he's hitting his stride a bit. And all the stuff the Chiefs want to do in terms of, pre-snap motion, the eye candy, so to speak, he's a big part of all that. So I think keeping Xavier Worthy in check is a big factor in this game.
Brandon, I don't know if we've got an official announcement yet, but Brandon Graham, we assume, is going to play on Sunday, making his return from injury, which is going to be a great sight. What can Graham add to them besides, just the emotion and the excitement of him being out there?
I mean, he was awesome before the injury. Like, he's looking like he's not a player who should be in his last season in the NFL. Looks like a guy who could play for 5 more seasons at that kind of the pace he was playing. And not even just like efficiency-wise, but the amount of snaps, too. He was having a major role. So really interested to see, just how much he can contribute coming back from that injury. I'm not going to bet against Brandon Graham. I don't know exactly what kind of role he'll have, but I mean, if he's anything like he was prior to the injury, this isn't just like, oh, it's a nice story or the leadership or anything. Like, no, this is a really good football player still, and a guy who I think can make, an impact in at the very least, in a rotational role in that edge rusher rotation that the Eagles use.
I'll throw this up there because it was going to be my next question. Are Jurgens and Dickerson healthy? I know Dickerson was at Carl's Cards on Saturday. He says he's healthy, ready to go. What's the latest on Cam Jurgens?
Yeah, it seems like he was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, so that's a good sign. I did see Ian Rappaport from NFL Network on Dickerson say that, quote, "My understanding is that it's a fairly significant knee injury and it's not nothing." Now, obviously, Dickerson was also full, so they're going to play. I think it's just a matter of, how long do they last into the game, if that's an issue? How well do they play? I don't think it's going to be about they're not out there. It's just a matter of, how will they able to be to hold up? And it's the Super Bowl. So I think they're going to, tough it out as much as they can, basically, because this is what it's all for. But in the event that, one of those guys gets banged up, Tyler Steen has not been perfect, but he's been a pretty good backup guard. And they've had 2 of their top scoring performances, including the NFC Championship game, the other one being the Bengals game, when Steen has had to start in the starting lineup there. So, as far as backups go, you just don't want them to be, at the very least, you just want them to not ruin the game for you and totally be exploited and ruin everything. And at the very least, I think Tyler Steen can do that in the event that he does have to play.
Going back on the defensive side again, as good as the DBs have been, as great as Zach Bond has been, Jalen Carter, how about the postseason that Nolan Smith is having?
10.5 sacks in the last 15 games. Nolan Smith, what a season for him. To be playing in the 3rd preseason game, preseason finale, and well into that game at a point where Eagles weren't playing anybody at all in the entire preseason of any significance. No starter played at all, other than Mekhi Becton, who was in a competition for the right guard job. For him to be playing in that game did not look good for him. And all of a sudden, over the course of the year, Brandon Graham's injury obviously opened up a lot of playing time for him at that point. And he's taken it and he's run with it. And this is exactly why it's important to sometimes you have to play your young players and let them get better and develop. They need those reps. And Nolan Smith has really just taken advantage of that. I think he benefits from playing next to Jalen Carter and Jalen Carter getting a lot of attention, but hey, he takes advantage of those one-on-ones. And I think his athleticism is really special and kind of gives him unique ways to kind of deal with some of these more mobile quarterbacks and be able to kind of chase them down. And his motor, as we can all see, is awesome. I mean, he's out there, he's hustling, not only just rushing the passer, but he's really good at setting the edge too, and chasing down plays from behind if it needs to be that's the case. So I think Nolan Smith is great here, and he has a big opportunity because Jawan Taylor is a guy who can be had, and he also gets a lot of pre-snap penalties too. And maybe if Nolan Smith gets some early success in this game, maybe Jawan Taylor's thinking about that, and he's trying to get off the ball a little bit sooner. There's a false start mixed in there, so I think Nolan Smith could be a really big X factor in this one.
One final question for me before we run out of time. I think I want to go back to Nick Sirianni. Many people, my partner included, wanted to run him out of town.
I did not want to run him out of town. That is not true. Not true.
It's on tape, pal. I think so much needs to be said about the job he's done. In as much as creating the team environment, the team atmosphere. I read again today from Devontae Smith. It's all about winning. It's not about stats. It's not about anything. It's just winning and getting better each week. And I think not enough credit has gone to Nick Sirianni. It seems like a lot of people feel like they've won in spite of him. That's not true.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they won in spite of him. I would say he's not the biggest reason they're winning in terms of the talent is clearly so good, and we all talk about that, and I think Howie Roseman deserves a lot of credit in that aspect. But obviously, when you are winning this much that the Eagles have been under Nick Sirianni, he is a part of that. And I think the culture is the biggest thing you can kind of give him credit for, with how that's really turned around, because the culture was looking pretty bad at the end of last year, and even that was kind of the alarming thing from last year. And I'll be frank, that's why I thought like he might not be cut out for this, is because they were 10-1, and you were hearing talk about how like they were miserable. Usually winning, begets good culture and, happiness, but that was not the case. So for however he was able to do it, I think Nick Sirianni was able to help turn around this culture. He always talks about connection being one of his core values, and I think this team looks like a connected team. They like to play for each other. They enjoy being around each other. There's good energy. I think all of that matters, and you see that in the results here. I don't think it's the number one reason they're having success, but it is certainly part of the formula.
Well, BLG, we have to get your prediction, and you're not going to disappoint me and pick against the Eagles, are you?
The context. Let me set up the context for my pick. Okay, so in the immediate aftermath of watching Super Bowl 58, I was very happy the Chiefs beat the 49ers. I did not want the 49ers to win that game, so I was in a good mood. But then I saw something that kind of put me in a bad mood, or at least kind of dampened my mood a little bit. And it was just the focus that Patrick Mahomes had in his post-game interview, and immediately after the game, and then on the podium when he was receiving the Vince Lombardi trophy, and really just a lot of the Chiefs players, they were really locked in on the three-peat. They didn't even seem happy they just won the Super Bowl. They were just, all they were talking about was three-peat. And I've just been of the mindset since then that they're gonna do it. This whole season kind of just seems like a waste of time, and it just another Chiefs Super Bowl win. And every step of the way this season, as they're not even looking all that good each week, but they're just winning every single game except the one against the Bills. They won every game this year, and then obviously they didn't win week 18 either when they were resting starters. But I mean, I just feel like everyone's been waiting for this shoe to drop with the Chiefs, and to me, it's like I feel like I would be Charlie Brown running at the football that Lucy is holding down and being like, oh, she's definitely not going to pull it this time if I'm taking the Chiefs to lose. So Vic Fangio, Saquon Barkley, those guys make me feel like I could regret this. I will say that. I'm not saying like it's just a fait accompli, and it's definitely a done dusted. But if I've been saying that all along with the Chiefs, I feel like I have to be consistent, and I would love to be wrong.
Okay.
Jane would love you to be wrong too. She just booed you. Well,
Fair
Brandon,
enough.
hey, before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find what you have going on. After the Eagles win on Sunday, you got any special shows you're going to do right after the game or next day or whatever?
Yeah, everything will be on bleedinggreennation.com. I'm sure we'll have a lot of articles and coverage, and hoping to get some pictures and video from Broad Street, assuming they win. I'll be there for that if that happens. So all the coverage will be there. I'll be doing a guest spot with Shul Kapadia on the Ringers Philly Special podcast after the game, win or lose. So you can also listen to me there.
Bill, before Brandon goes, I got to do it. 30 seconds on the 76ers 24-25 season. Come on. Sum up this season in 30 seconds.
Total waste of time. Just a big waste of time and energy. And I feel really bad for, I know you guys talk about them here. I know, there's outlets dedicated to the Sixers. I feel bad for those people because they put in a lot of good work, a lot of great effort when it comes to covering the Sixers. But that team just does not deserve anyone's time or energy, especially this season.
I'm with you, pal. I'm with you. Brandon, thanks a lot for joining us. Let's do it again, and we'll be hoisting the Lombardi, and you will be wrong.
I would love it. I'd love to be wrong.
Thanks, BLG.
Thanks, Brandon. All right. Hey, Chet, Philly Pressbox Radio is now part of the STT Sports Network. That's as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal, Phil Stifle, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep, you can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's STT Sports Network setting the trend for what sports talk should be. Hey, Chad, tell us what's going over at the Irish Rover Station House for the Super Bowl.
This place, oh yeah, good times always on the menu at the Irish Rover in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. You know the drill. Always 24 beers on tap, served up by the Rovers. Terrific bartenders. Thursday through Sunday, dinner specials. Thursdays also mean killer burgers. And after 7 p.m., Stella and Wings specials. Oh, speaking of wings, you got to get your orders in because, there's that big game this Sunday. Get your orders in for your game day wings. And believe me when I tell you, the Rovers wings are terrific. Or how about this idea? Go to the Rover, watch the game there Sunday, where, as you can see, they'll have all sorts of beer and food specials, including the $5 menu, a second quarter buffet, and giveaways. Going to be fun. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne and on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. Love that place.
Hi, football fans. This is Merrill Reese, and you're listening to Bill and Chet on Philly Pressbox Radio. It's good!
Yes, sir.
How fired up do you think Merrill will be?
Oh, man. I would love to see Merrill enjoy another Super Bowl, and we get to hear another great Super Bowl winning call from Merrill. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. I got to I actually listened to about the first quarter of the last game on the radio, or Merle and Mike. And it was funny because that magnificent run on the first play of the game by Saquon, I don't think Merle thought that was happening. He didn't have the octaves up like he normally does. And then all of a sudden he says, "Oh, my gosh, he's gone."
That was a hell of a run, man.
Yes, it was. Well, hey, you had a chance to visit with Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil to talk Eagles and the Super Bowl, as we've done for how many years in a row now?
This is the 4th year in a row, I believe, and the 5th time I got to chat with Coach Vermeil overall for our show.
Yeah. Well, what's Coach have to say? I know he's fired up. He's always has a great analysis looking at both teams. So I'm excited to hear what he's got to say.
Great chat with the coach, who, by the way, is on the mend from back surgery that he had right around Christmas time, but he is doing well, recovering very well from that, and looking forward to Sunday's game, which pits a couple of franchises that he's got some history with. So here it is. This is our chat. We are just days away from Super Bowl 59, so it's the perfect time to welcome back a Super Bowl winning coach who's also a Pro Football Hall of Famer. It is the fantastic Dick Vermeil. Hey, Coach, great to see you again.
Nice to be with you, Chet.
Coach, how's the weather down in Key West?
It's about 85 here on the port, so very nice, thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, hard to believe, but last week marked the 25th anniversary of Super Bowl 34, when your St. Louis Rams held off the Tennessee Titans in the Georgia Dome. I'm guessing you still think about that day and that magical season pretty often this time of year, huh?
I do often. In fact, we're going to have a little reunion type celebration in St. Louis on February 20th or so. And, those things keep you thinking about the team and the people on it.
Well, you won that Super Bowl with the Rams, but your 2 other NFL head coaching jobs happen to be with the 2 clubs that will square off Sunday in Super Bowl 59, the Eagles and Chiefs. Let me ask you, is this Eagles team with Saquon and the league's #1 defense better suited to pull off a win than the one that came up just short 2 years ago?
I think they are, definitely. And maybe Kansas City isn't quite as good as they were at that time. So it's a combination of both. When you study the numbers favor the Eagles. But, it's so hard to think past Mahomes and Andy Reid in a game like this. So I think it's going to be a great football game, and everyone's anticipating that.
What do you like about this Eagles team?
Oh, the talent. They're extremely well coached. The new defensive scheme with Vic Fangio and the job that Howie Roseman's done with the personnel. And Nick never gets quite the credit he ought to, but remember this, Chet. There are 3 kinds of coaches in the NFL. One you win because of, one you win along with, and one you win in spite of. And if you aren't in any one of those 3 categories, you aren't an NFL coach more than 1 year. Now, here he is going on, his 4th year, and he's back in the Super Bowl. You got to give him a lot of credit.
We all know how good Patrick Mahomes is, and I heard an interesting stat last week. He is a perfect 8-0 against Vic Fangio coached defenses. Now, granted, those were Bronco and Dolphin defenses. What is the key to making sure Mahomes doesn't get to work his magic?
Well, you usually say, pass rush and all that kind of stuff and pressure. But the Eagles are more of a coverage team with pretty good pass rush, but not a dominating rush. So I think it'll be Vic Fangio's cover scheme And also if they can do a good job within their scheme against Kelsey. Usually in the big games, Andy finds a way to get the ball to Kelsey. You can go 2 games and catch 4 passes, the next one he catches 11, So I think those are the big problems. And, and their defensive scheme is better than it's been. It was good last year. It's very good this year. The blitz packages vary so much and are complicated and change every week. So that'll be a problem for the Eagle offense.
Hey, we had Paul Domowitch on our show last week, and Domo said that when you were on his show a couple of weeks back, you spoke very highly of Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter. I believe that he told us you compared Carter to a certain Eagles legend who wore number 92. Is that correct?
I did. Reggie White. Yeah, he reminds me of that. He's reminded me of that ever since I saw him come to Philadelphia and saw the films on him, the videos and that. He's very, very explosive out of his stance. And for a big man that size and that powerful to be explosive, and then as he learns to use his hands and arms and leverage abilities, gains the experience, and he'll even get stronger, more stamina, which they're playing him a lot more per game now in terms of number of snaps. I think he's close to a Reggie White. I really do.
Well, the Eagles offense this year was powered by Saquon Barkley, fantastic 2,000-yard regular season, and he's going strong here in the postseason too. We know how good Chiefs DC Steve Spagnuolo is. Can they slow Barkley down, and will that force the Eagles to maybe throw the ball more often?
Well, they haven't been an outstanding run defense team, so they're going to have to change their profile a little bit. But I do believe they'll do a better job than most of containing him. With that offensive line, as big and as strong, as well coached as the Eagles offensive line is, it's tough for any defensive team or coordinator to stop them. They're so good. I think they may do a little better job of preventing the breakout long run, which he's had a number of times this year. But, Saquon, as soon as he came to Philadelphia, I knew what we were looking into was going to be really something great, because he didn't do a bad job when he stayed healthy in New York behind an average NFL line. Behind the best, you get this kind of result.
Hey, by the way, I caught you on WIP last Friday. Did I hear you say you would rank the Mahomes-Andy Reid combination above Brady and Belichick?
Well, at least along with. I don't know if you can put anybody, and I don't think Andy Reid would want to be rated above. But you have to say equal. Remember now, Andy Reid's on the offensive side of the ball. Belichick was on the defensive side of the ball. So it's a different comparison. But geez, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do better. In fact, I know I have never seen anybody do a better job than these two guys together, especially on the offensive side of the football.
Coach, 3 weeks ago, I had a great chat with a couple of your former players, John Bunning and Ken Dunnick. And among other things, we talked about the amazing Bill Bergey, who sadly passed away Christmas morning. They spoke very highly about number 66, the player and the man. What comes to mind when you think about Bill Bergey?
Well, he was such a complete package. And, when I came to Philadelphia, he was the dominant star. They'd given up 2 first and a second-round pick for him. And sometimes when a new young coach like me or anybody like me comes into an organization, the superstar is hard to collect and bring into what you want to really do. And Bill bought in and really became a leader. When your best player on your roster becomes your hardest worker, most dedicated, intense player, you got a chance, And I spent the last year seeing Bill once every 2 or 3 weeks. And I've never been around a man with more courage that he displayed, rather than not on the football field, sitting in a couch chair in his home. He knew for the last year that he was not going to make it. And that's why I say don't chew that tobacco. But anyway, all he ever expressed was how grateful he was for his wife and family, the opportunities he had in the NFL that took him out of almost being raised in a poverty level home as a kid. What football did for him, what the coaches and his friends did for him, he was forever grateful, and he never once complained or pouted about his situation or blamed anybody. He knew that the Paco made a terrible mistake, and he was paying the price. But never have I seen a guy for a long period or any period of time handled with great courage like he did.
We've all heard how when you first took over as Eagles coach in 76, that Bergey referred to you as Harry High School or High School Harry due to the, my way or the highway approach you had. Was that ever a real problem?
You make me laugh when you say that, Chet. You make me laugh.
Was that a problem, really?
Oh, yeah. They weren't used to working. See, I brought a spring practice football type of practice sessions to training camp because we didn't have first, second, or third round pick.
Yep.
We had a third round pick my third year, and they were already losing. Now, how do you catch up? No matter what the athlete is, if you work them longer, harder, better, and smarter, they get better. Maybe never good enough to be an all-pro, but you could take a below average player and make him an average player. You can take an average player and make him a better player. You can take a better player and make him a real fine Pro Bowl player. And that's what my staff and I were able to do with those mechanics. I did the same thing with the Rams my first 2 years. Exact same approach. And most teams don't work people like we work them. But, they both teams, in fact, really started taking pride. They found out that hard work is not a form of punishment. It's a solution. And Bill Berge, every time I was Frank Lemaster, God bless them, these guys that are gone, Guy Morris, whenever I was with them, they talked about how much pride they took and how much effort they put into becoming a winner.
Awesome.
Well,
right. Let's find out who's going to win Sunday. I know you have a fancy computer program that helps you analyze the matchups. We know how successful the Chiefs are in one-score games. They've won 17 straight in that situation. What's your computer telling you about Super Bowl 59, and what's your gut telling you, Coach?
Well, my computer says they're going to win by 5. The Eagles will win by 5. And the computer, through the whole season, is about 70% correct in picking the team that's going to win, not anywhere that close to the point spread. And when they're wrong, it normally is they pick the favored team to win and they lose. That's when it's normally wrong. That's normally produced by teams that are winning along during the regular season, all 32 of them, and all of a sudden they play a lesser team and they're not quite emotionally ready to play and they get upset. That's when it's wrong the most often in terms of predicting the loser or winner. So here, there's no question that both teams will be mentally and emotionally prepared to bench against the best. And Chet, as well as I do, the game will probably come down to who takes the ball away, who doesn't give it away, who doesn't get the pass interference call on the 5-yard line and give him first down and goal to go. These kinds of things. Who doesn't fumble the ball, who doesn't get a bad snap, these kinds of things. And I kind of believe it will go right down to the wire. And both teams have the ability to win it in the last drive. The Chiefs have done it more often. They have more experience. But I wouldn't sell Jalen Hurts short either. And I know Andy Reid real well. He will not sell him short.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait. Hey, we usually end with a wine question, so let's keep that tradition going. I believe last year marked the 25th anniversary of what soon to became known as Vermeil wines. How's the wine business looking these days? We had the best year we've ever had in the Napa Valley, and the wine industry is really down in California. Yeah. We
had our best year. For the second year in a row, we won the #1 tasting room in Napa. So we're very proud of that. Our wines are getting, for me, almost too expensive. They're very good. I'm not a winemaker, but I know how to put a team together and surround myself with people that can do the right things to make it right. We don't make any money. We make real good wine. We pay all our bills and have a little money in the bank. No partner's taken out $1 since we turned it into a business in 2008. But we all enjoy it. We said, and we could open a bottle of wine anytime we want with the Vermeil name on it. And, it gives me a lot of pleasure because I grew up in some of that environment in Calistoga and the Napa Valley.
And those great wines can be shipped to Pennsylvania and Jersey, folks. VermeilWines.com. Enjoy the game Sunday. And, hey, no matter what the outcome, it's one of your former teams that'll hoist the Lombardi Trophy. So, Coach Dick Vermeil, thank you.
All right, Chad. Take care. Thank you.
Chet, every time we have Coach on, besides the great football stuff, the man doesn't seem to age.
He just, keeps plugging away. 88 years old, man. I hope I look that good when I'm 70.
Sharp as a tack. Sharp as a tack. Absolutely.
Really is. And I got to answer a question for somebody right here. They wanted to know, because we are also on the STT Sports Network, is this really live? The Dick Vermeil interview was taped earlier, but otherwise, if you're watching us Wednesday night, we are live, Bill and I, right here, right now. So there you go,
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Chet, tell us, man, it's tailgate time, spring training time. We got all kinds of stuff. What's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up terrific catering businesses for 30-plus years, 35 now, I believe. Known best for their tailgate parties, Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs does corporate events, parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all of the Birds games at the Link, and there will be various tailgates outside Citizens Bank Park this spring and summer, too, including one before the home opener on March 31st. And, hey, you may still have time to get in on this. Together with Philly Sports Trips, Cavs is heading to New Orleans early Friday. That's a day and a half from now for that big game. There are packages that don't include a ticket to the game and packages that do. Act fast. Get all the details on that at the website, phillysportstrips.com. And for the closer to home tailgates, visit phillytailgates.com. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Very good. Well, hey,
so,
Chet.
I got to ask you something real quick.
Go ahead.
I know you're excited about the fact that Kendrick Lamar is doing the halftime show this Sunday. So I want to ask you, what do you think he's going to open with?
I'm just hoping that he comes dressed, doesn't wear a top coat, doesn't have a building on his head, or whatever.
Smith, yeah.
I wouldn't know Kendrick Lamar if he walked into my house, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I know you watched all 3 hours and 52 minutes of the Grammys the other night, where Kendrick Lamar won 5 different awards for his song "Not Like Us," including Song of the Year, Record of the Year, Video of the Year. So you got to think he's going to perform "Not Like Us," although that song is like full of profanities and the N-word, and so I don't know how he's going to pull that off. But I know you'll be watching.
Well, I don't know how much that time was you just said, but I think I saw maybe 20 seconds.
Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah, I saw the thing with the head, and then the sister who wasn't dressed, and then the other one that wasn't dressed at all, and that was plenty of the 20
that was
seconds.
on the red carpet. Yeah, that was Kanye's.
Okay. Well, if you're going past that, I didn't see any of it, and I didn't miss anything.
Let's get back to football talk.
They're nuts. That's all I could say.
Football talk, Bill. Let's get back to it.
All right. So this was our time that we were going to have our man Boop live, but we couldn't do that. Boop, as we said, called in sick, but we got plenty to talk about. We got his prop bets we're going to run with, and we'll have some comments on that. Then at the end, we'll make our picks.
Yeah, sounds good. And as we said, get well, Boop. We miss you. Wish you could have been here with us. So yeah, we were hoping to get Boop on to talk about all the prop bets and whatnot and get his prediction, of course. So he sent us, everything, and we kind of put it together for you and me to cover what Boop said about the game. And here's the deal. By the time Sunday evening rolls around, Bill, Boop will have made dozens of prop bets and parlays. But here are a few out-of-the-box wagers that he's already placed. He is in on Saquon Barkley having at least 150-plus yard run. That's plus 350. So you bet $100, you get 350 back. But he shied away from the bet that he would have a 20-plus yard run in each quarter. That's also plus 350. But he says it could be plus 3,500, and he would pass on that one because, getting 20 yards in each quarter on one single run, that's tough.
Yeah, I think I would stay away from that one for sure. That's a hard ask. The long run, I can see that happening again. They might want to try to stop it, but so has everybody else wanted to stop it.
Yeah.
So, hey, here's one for you. Our guy Boop has 4 bets down on Tyrese Maxey plus the Eagles points combined. This one was out of the box, right? Combined for 50 or more is minus 110, 55 plus 140, 60 plus is plus 200, 65 plus is plus 300. And you can also bet that the Eagles point total versus Maxey's. Tyrese is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, so the Vegas people are figuring, maybe Tyrese scores something like 34, the Eagles score 30 or 31. There's your 3.5 right there. So interesting bet. I may have to find that one and do something with it because the Sixers do play Sunday afternoon, of course, and I love Maxey, so I may have to get in on that action.
I kind of like that myself. I'm not a bettor, but I think it's kind of unique. If Maxey were to score, well, if Mr. Softy doesn't play, Maxey could score 35, and Eagles would only need to score 21 to hit that 55 number.
Maxey's been on fire the last couple of weeks. I think it's like 14 games in a row or whatever. He scored at least 28 points. Hey, this one cracks me up. Boop says he threw $1 down on Brandon Graham to win Super Bowl MVP. Most places don't even have him listed since he isn't even officially, activated yet for the game. But a few did. He said the best price was at DraftKings, 750 to 1. I think it should be much higher than that because you look at this, Bill. Here's some of the Super Bowl MVP odds. Mahomes and Barkley, of course, right at the top of the list. Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce, plus 1,500. So, everybody's thinking it's going to be one of the quarterbacks or Barkley. So Brandon Graham should be like, 10,000 to 1. But hey, whatever. But here's Boop's thing. Boop says it would take a lot to get it done. An Eagles win, a low-scoring game, a big day from Graham, but how cool would it be, says Boop, if Graham got his 4th sack of the game on the last play of a 3-touchdown victory by getting to Chiefs backup quarterback Carson Wentz? That would be funny.
That would be funny. That's for sure. Hey, and this is true Boop stats right here, Chet. A few stats to ponder a little bit. The number 1 defense, as Eagles were this season in terms of net yards allowed, has made 12 Super Bowls. They are 10-2 in those title games. It kind of goes back to that old saying from the old wise man, defense wins championships.
Yeah. Oh, Jalen Carter for MVP. There you go. That would be nice to see also. Since Super Bowl 38, the team entering with the better record, and that would be the Chiefs in this case, is 1-16 against the spread in the Super Bowl. You got to like that. Chiefs are favored by 1.5. So the team with the better record, the Chiefs, 1-16 against the spread in the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 38. That is bizarre.
Yeah, it really is. And here's another one. I would have never thought this one, Chet. This caught me a little bit off guard. Andy Reid's teams are 30-3 when they're coming off a bye, and the opponent is not. We knew Big Red was really good coming off of byes. But they're just 4-4 when both teams are coming off a bye. So, Chet, who is Boop picking to win Sunday?
Well, here we go. Boop's official. He says he's not breaking any news in saying that either team could win this game, especially if turnovers go their way. But he believes the Eagles have a better shot of a big victory than the one-possession victory kings of all time, the Chiefs. So, even though he has futures on both teams to win, he covers his ass, He placed these back in the summer, by the way. Boop is reloading, he says, on the Eagles to emerge with the Lombardi Trophy and also partaking in about a dozen small bet alternate spread wagers because you can move the spread around. So they range from, minus 1.5, which is plus 118, to minus 24.5. If the Eagles blow them out by 24.5, that's plus 2,500. You bet $10, you get what, 250 back? Boop's official prediction regarding the final score: Eagles 35, Chiefs 24.
There you have it. From our guy Boop. Feel better, Boop? Man, I hate when he's not here live when we thought he was going to be, but get well, my man. But Chet, hey.
Before we get to our bets, let me just show you some of the other predictions that are out there. These are just some of the local guys. I heard Brian Westbrook. I heard Seth Joyner on WIP earlier this week. They both predict an Eagles win by 4 or 5 points. Tom Moore, our old buddy, has the Eagles by 4. Tom Rimback from the Courier Post in South Jersey. He's predicting a 2-touchdown win. Dick Vermeil's computer, as we heard, Eagles by 5. All these other guys have the Eagles winning by 1 score, with the exception of 2 of them. Jared Ramsey from the Detroit Free Press is picking the Chiefs. And as we just heard, Brandon Lee Gowton says he's going with the Chiefs to win 26-23. I'm going to be with Jane on this one. Boo, BLG.
Me too. All right. Well, it's time. Time for you to put up or shut up. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we got Boop's prediction, 35-24 Eagles. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I was talking to the doctor who was also an Eagles fan, and he asked me for my prediction. So I didn't have a score at that time, but I thought, you know what? It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be relatively high scoring. I said to him, and I'm going to say to you right now, Eagles 31, Chiefs 27.
Okay. It's not going to be that close.
Now, Bill.
It's not going to be that close. No, it's not going to be that close. And the Eagles can't let it be that close because funny things happen at the end of games. The Eagles are going to take care of their business just like they did against Washington. They're not going to score 50, but I told you they were going to win by 10. They're going to win by 10 again. So here it is.
What's your score? 37-24. There you go.
There you go. Mark it down.
I did. I just did. Let me see what else I have here regarding Super Bowl prop bets. I printed some of these out. How many tush pushes or brotherly shoves will be run? Will Travis Kelce pop the question, as you mentioned, Bill? I don't care. Will Nick Sirianni cry during the national anthem? I don't care if they get engaged or married. I don't care.
Yes, you do.
I don't. Which commercial will be rated the best? People love the commercials. Will the coin toss be heads or tails? That's always a popular bet. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown during the game? How many times will Jason Kelce be shown during the game? So, lots of fun stuff like that. And let me see some of the other ones. Oh, FanDuel was doing this little prop sheet. You have to, I guess, bet all of these. And I don't know if this is just a fun thing where you place money, but, stuff like, will the national anthem be longer than 2 minutes and a half second or not? What will the result of the coin toss be, of course? Which team will score first? These are traditional kind of things that you can get on most games. Will both teams score in the third quarter? That's an interesting one. All sorts of stuff like that. So, boy, there's going to be a lot of money bet on this game, Bill. And as Boop said, he's already in on at least a dozen. There'll be several more dozen probably by Boop. I made 4 or 5 bets so far, and will probably make another 5 or 6 myself.
Who is singing the national anthem?
I don't even know.
You could have bet that, and I wouldn't have known it. So,
yeah, I don't even know. I probably should know, but I don't.
Yeah.
What else did you say? What else about the game?
I think it's all kind of fun, the prop bet stuff. Not that I'm going to bet any money on it, but I'm looking forward to this game, Chet. I think the Eagles have a real chance to win. They've played really well. And as Coach said, I think that maybe the Chiefs aren't quite as good as they've been in the past. So we'll see. Maybe we're sucked in a little bit because all those close games that they played makes you think that they're not quite as dominant. Patrick Mahomes can make those big plays scrambling up the middle. He does it every week that there's a big game, and the Eagles certainly need to bring a stop to that.
Let's see. We got some other predictions here. Malloy says the Eagles by 10, 37-27. Bob Moser has the Eagles 34-21. Roseanne Barr, national anthem. I don't think that I haven't heard, but I don't think Roseanne Barr will be good one, Joe.
No.
PJ has the Eagles 33-24. So
you know what's interesting, Chet, and I feel the same way. Everybody's got the Eagles in the 30s. Nobody's thinking that offense is going to be stopped, and that whole sheet you put up there, almost everybody there was in the 30s as well. So they're looking for the offense to keep it going like they've been, and why not?
Hey, why not? They've been doing it most of the season, so yeah, why not? And run, Saquon, run. But as we said, Goddard should have a good game. Devontae Smith has had 3 great games against the Chiefs. Throw to him also. So I can't wait. I can't wait.
I can't either. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to the defense too. I think I'm really excited to see how they're going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs get the ball, come down and get points, because that seems to be the MO of that Fangio defense. As long as they can hold them to a field goal, and then let the offense get on the field, the defense makes some adjustments, and things have gone pretty well. And that could very well happen this time too. Just a long game, though. Don't no reason to panic when if they were to go down 3-0 or 7-0 early.
Yeah, and by the way, we didn't show the pick'em standings, but Boop and I are both 9-3, and we both picked the Eagles. So it looks like we're going to end in a tie, Bill, and you're going to finish 2 games back. But hey, it was fun. I'll share the top prize with Boop.
Well, the runner-up prize, because the regular season.
I know you won the
somebody
regular
else.
Season. Yeah, even the margin of victory pool, which we're going to do next year too. Maybe we'll do something a little different with the pick'em next year. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, maybe Boop will actually win.
Oh.
Hey, we had great guests tonight in Brandon Lee Gowton, the coach, Dick Vermeil, and we'll even throw Boop in there since we put all his stuff up.
He did provide us with a lot of good
Radio
stuff.
next week.
Well, next week, Bill, we will talk about the amazing Eagles Super Bowl victory, we hope, with a guy that we had last on in August of 2023. He heads up the Philly Sports Network's Eagles coverage, and he's the host of the Flippin' the Birds podcast. It's Brian Cameron. He's a good dude. And, I just got confirmation as we were going on tonight at 7 o'clock. I got a text back from a guy we're going to talk baseball with, and it's another Hall of Famer, Jason Stark. I will have to pre-tape because he's busy heading down to Florida. So I will have a taped interview from early in the week with Jason Stark of The Athletic talking about the Phillies, pitchers and catchers, reporting.
Yeah, and I didn't know Jason was going to be with us this week, but, when we went to our the event we went to and we had a chance to talk to Jason, I think he was of the impression that the Phillies were going to make some big moves. Those moves didn't happen.
No biggies.
So it'll be really interesting to get his take on what he thinks of the 2025 Phils.
And as you know, we got a little Jason Stark, Jim Chetchesko on TV together at that great sports debate event. I got to, interview him on the air for about a minute, and that was kind of fun too.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure you'll throw that out there for everybody to see if they didn't see it, because you getting FaceTime, why not, right?
Hey, it is what it is. All right, Bill, we have less than 3 minutes. Anything we should discuss about the Flyers?
Traded Joel Farabee, traded Morgan Frost.
You're a big Morgan Frost guy. Were you heartbroken to see him go?
No, because he just couldn't. Neither one of them guys could get out of the doghouse, the Tortorella doghouse, and it's deep. Both have already scored for Calgary, by the way.
Huh, how about that?
Yeah.
And the Sixers got rid of both of their Martins, Caleb Martin and KJ Martin. One of them a legitimate trade. They got Quentin Grimes back. And then they basically just dumped KJ Martin and a couple of draft picks as part of a salary dump to, get them under the tax threshold and free up some money. So that was kind of weird. Maybe something else happening before the deadline, which is tomorrow at some point late afternoon.
Yeah. And what do you think about since you kind of follow the NBA, did the big trade between Dallas and LA actually move the needle for you? Or does no one care?
Very surprising to see Luka Doncic get traded because, his team went to the finals last year. There was some talk about him maybe getting a little lazy or lax in the conditioning or whatever. But, man, if he's, as good as he would, and he's only like 26 or whatever,
yep,
the Lakers are going to be darn tough to beat in the postseason.
Yeah, they are, and he's a good player. And that deal only cost him $116 million. You know that?
How so?
Because he is no longer eligible for a Supermax contract.
Oh, yeah, because you got to be with the same team, yeah.
So the $58 million, he now can only get $230 million, whatever the numbers are.
Yeah.
But it cost him $116 million to get traded. I wouldn't know what all that money's about, but if you lose $116 million, that's a lot of money.
It is. Bill, wrap it up. We got a Super Bowl Sunday. We got Phillies talk next week too. So can't wait. Let's get it out of here tonight.
We're ready to do it. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Brandon Lee Gowton, and the Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Phillies Tailgate, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chetchesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, and on Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans, and go Birds!
Oh, I got to hit the button again. There.
Let's do the song. Come on.